Hello, this is Wmpyr. Earlier this morning, I was talking with my student, and we were talking about ancient battlefield combat once again, and we've really been into that. And in particular, we're focusing on fencing, ancient fencing, and then from there, we got into the topic of trapping. And of course, trapping is something that is done in Filipino martial arts. Um, a lot of Chinese kung fu uses trapping as well, and other traditional martial arts. But also, we see it in the Jeet Kune Do. So anyway, yeah, trapping is it's been this mysterious area because when you see something like what you're seeing right here, combat sports or boxing, we don't see it. We really don't see it in the way that it's traditionally shown. And some people modify it and they try to put it in combat sports, but it's really, really like only a very small percentage you see in there. Um, I mean, you could watch some boxing and see someone like George Foreman using tidbits of it, but really, I mean, it would be like saying, well, they punch in kung fu and they punch in boxing, so it's the same. It would be like saying something like that, and it's like, no, it's a lot more different than that, right? You'd have to go that far out to say that it's the same thing. So, um, now, uh, in my opinion, right, and trapping is for me something that I cleared up a long time ago. For many years, it was a mystery that I had to solve. It's kind of like, I don't know, the Bermuda Triangle or the Loch Ness Monster or Bigfoot. It was a mystery to me. And it took many years, and then I got to the point where I solved it satisfyingly enough for me to where I was like, okay, this is my answer and I'm satisfied with it. I'm not saying that I have the answer and there is nothing more like I am the answer for trapping. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that for me personally, it's cleared up. Okay, that doesn't mean I could give you the same explanation that I gave myself, and it may not agree with you. So that's just different. Your path is different from my path, but for me, I was able to come to peace with it. But it was brought up again, and so first off, two things that I got to say right off the bat when it comes to trapping. Number one is you need a safe entry, and then number two is you need to neutralize. If you don't do these two, I don't care who you are, I don't care how long you've been doing trapping, I feel like your trapping is not going to be usable in a real life situation or against a real life opponent. You'd have to rely on them really sucking. You have to rely on a lot of things that have nothing to do with skill or strategy. But that to me is what it's supposed to come down to is you want it to come down to skill and strategy, that you have more of that, therefore you could defeat them even if they're a little stronger, bigger, younger, more explosive, whatnot. And so those are the two things to me that is logical and undeniable. Number one is, once again, a safe entry. So right here you can see Mr. Ricardo Arona, and Ricardo, because in Brazil my understanding is when you use a R at the beginning of a word, it becomes an H. So his second R in cardo, that R is an R, like a normal R, but the first one becomes he. So that's why I'm pronouncing his name that way, in case you're wondering. So just like Hoist Gracie, Hickson Gracie, Henzo Gracie, like all the Gracies and stuff. Because I've actually heard people to this day pronounce it weird. So Ricardo Arona in versus Sooko. I'm not even going to try to pronounce and butcher his name, but Sooko was one of those guys that just at the time came out of nowhere, came out from Africa. And my understanding, I believe he was an awesome judo player over there. And okay, so this is a match. If you guys haven't seen this, you want to see this. This is incredible. So Ricardo Arona gets the entry because trapping range, at least according to Sifu Paul Vunek, is the same as the clinch. So here we are in an MMA clinch. So this is trapping range because this is the clinch. So Ricardo Arona gets in there safely. He was able to get this, single leg takedown attempt. So he secures the single leg right here. So he did that. That's number one. Okay, so he safely entered into the clinch. Okay, good for him. Number two is he needs to neutralize. And this is where he is unable to neutralize, and it costs him the match because from here, Sooko, he starts punching the living daylights of Mr. Ricardo Arona from here. And, that's nothing new for MMA, but for someone to do it at this power, this intensity, I think was new. It was like, oh, you could do that? Just like when Conor McGregor, when he fought, I believe it was Cowboy, he used the shoulder bump. There is nothing new about that. Every boxer in the planet knew about shoulder bumps. Like you could use your shoulder to punch the guy, basically, right? But no one had ever done it like that, or at least to where you see it on, TV on the big screen like that on a professional circuit. Have we ever seen that? I haven't. Show me a match where you've seen that to that extent, where it basically led to the KO. I mean, that didn't knock out the guy, but that led to it. So it, to me, is kind of the same thing. Everyone knows you could punch from here, but yeah, your punches, I mean, the way Sooko would have to use his left arm to punch Ricardo Arona in the head is almost like Sooko punching himself in the groin, which he actually looked like he did at one point if you watch this match. But yeah, it's that awkward of a punch is what I'm trying to say. So most people do not, I mean, instinct-wise, you're not going to generate a ton of power doing this, but this guy did. So this is where Mr. Ricardo Arona failed. Of course, he was going up against an unprecedented beast of a man, even though he himself is a beast. Yeah, you just never know what's going to happen in a fight. And right here, the number two part where he was unable to neutralize the opponent. You have to in order for trapping to occur, you got to neutralize. And I think normally Mr. Arona, who is so explosive, he is also very, very explosive. He relies on this being, it's a takedown, so the other guy is going to lose their balance so that they're not really going to be punching you as much, or they're not going to be punching that hard because they're too worried about their balance. But Mr. Sooko here, being a former judo guy, a very elite judo guy from Africa, is able to maintain his balance and hit super, super hard, even though he's about to get taken down. I mean, this is normally a bad position that you're in balance-wise, and I mean, he has the incredible athletic balance, and he's a beast, right? So these things kind of happen. So Ricardo Arona's normal way of doing this was not enough to neutralize. So let me reiterate. This is the whole point of the video. For your trapping to be usable and effective, you need a safe entry, and you need to neutralize. The trapping part where you tie up their arms and you're punching the person, or you're doing that kind of stuff, that's secondary. You have to neutralize them. That's the most important thing once you get there. So after the entry, you got to, because if you don't, if the guy has a knife, they're stabbing you to death. If they have some kind of weapon, they're using it on you. You have to neutralize. Now, if you're trying to break their balance Would that be enough? In this case, it was a no. Some situations maybe so, but for me, I don't like to rely just on that alone. So that makes me it made me reevaluate my sense of trapping back in the day, way back in the day, back when I solved it for me. Um, it wasn't enough just to try to break their balance. So I do try to break their balance, but really it is about neutralization, and lots of distractions as well. But anyway, just wanted to make a video pointing this out. So that's it for now. Thank you for viewing, and take care, folks.